It was a cold winter's night. The wind was whistling around my ears. I was walking down the driveway with Brother Howe, and we're just having a casual conversation. And just at that point in time, a fox ran past in front of us, frightened the shit out of me. But the next thing that frightened the shit out of me was, he says to me, "Do you know about sex?" And I'm thinking, oh my God, that's a word that was never spoken about within the family. Here he was asking me if I knew about sex. Thank God it was nighttime and dark, because I was a little embarrassed, and so I softly said, "No, I don't." He then started explaining about the birds, what I was told was the birds and the bees, right? So started going into the explanation about the birds and the bees and a female and a male and all sorts of stuff. So I'm walking along and feeling very anxious and embarrassed. Just something that wasn't in my vocabulary in terms of open conversations about it. It was something that was always in our family, was never talked about. I was 15 years old at the time. I remember walking from there back to the dormitory and getting into bed, and my mind was going crazy with thinking, what the hell is this all about? And I was getting really angry because I was infuriated that no one had explained this to me. Why didn't someone tell me about this? And really angry with my dad. Why wasn't he the one telling me? Why is this brother telling me about this? So it really rocked me for a little while. And so anyway, got up next morning and I thought to myself, well, this is interesting, because I was in the Christian Brothers Junior training to be a Christian brother. I had a year ahead of me to finish off my education. In those days it was leaving certificate, and then go on to the what do you call it, the ministry or whatever, and become a Christian brother, because I idolised one of my teachers at school, Brother Couch, and I wanted to be like him. Now, being brought up in a good Catholic family, it was like I was innocent. It was an environment where it was like being in this bubble that I lived in, that everything was perfect, and you went to church, you did all the things that were expected of you from both your family and the church and all that sort of stuff. I was an older boy, so it was a very sort of insular life for me, looking back on it. And so I just decided that, okay, I was unaware of all about sex and life, so therefore here I am about to embark on a life of celibacy, and someone's telling me there's another life out there. I just thought, this is crazy. But I decided to stay for the year, and what it did for me was it got me out of the home environment that I'd been in for 15 years. So now I was in a different world. I was in a world where I wasn't totally free, but I had a lot of time to do things that I wanted to do, or think about for me, so I could make small decisions. I learned how to drink, I learned how to smoke, and I had a freaking good time there. So I thought to myself, I'm just going to have a good time here, get through the year, and then at the end of the year I'll sit down and evaluate whether there's something I want to do. It was an interesting year and a transition for me into a world where a whole different reality opened up for me, a reality I wasn't even aware of. my mum and dad weren't aware of the fact that I was experiencing this different reality. They just come to visit me every month, and they saw this holy boy still. And Mum was so proud of the fact that I was going to be a Christian brother. She told the family, my son's going to be a Christian brother. And in those days, it was all this big deal about, and I felt validated, and I felt really good, and it made me feel good. And I was doing something. I thought I'll be like the brother at school, and that's going to be what I want my life to be, without knowing the other side of reality. So I was sitting on the diving board above the pool at the college, looking down at the water. It was 10 o'clock at night, so it was dark, and it was a clear sky, and there was beautiful stars out at night. And I remember just sitting on the diving board, and I thought to myself, I've got to make a decision now. There's no one else can decide but me. And at that point, I decided this is not what my life is going to be. I'm not coming back to be a Christian brother. I'm going to take another direction. Not sure what that is, but I'm definitely not coming back here. That was that was the first big decision I made. And when I look back on it now, and if I had to sort of say something to that 16-year-old boy on the diving board, I would say, good on you. Good on you for making that decision. And if you stand by your decision, then well done. Congratulations. The next day, Dad rocked up to pick me up to take me home because it was the school holidays in those days, so he took me back to Geelong. And I remember thinking, I'm going back into that environment at home again, back into that insulated world. And I said to Dad on the way home, I said, I'm not going back there to be a Christian brother. And he says, oh, okay. That was about a few words. I said to him, but I want you to tell Mum. Because, see, I was still thinking, you didn't tell me about sex. You let me down in that respect. So now you can tell Mum, because I know what she's going to say. And he says, oh, no, you tell her. I said, no, you tell her. I thought, bugger this. I feel like I've been betrayed by him for not telling me about the sex, which may have changed my plan to do the Christian brother. Anyway, we got home, and a day went by. Dad didn't say anything. So I thought to myself, it's up to me now to tell her. So I said to Mutton, I've decided I'm not going to continue to be a Christian brother. And she cracked the shits that badly. The first thing she said was, what am I going to tell the relatives? And I stood there and I thought, it's all about you, not about me. And the interesting thing is, neither Mum nor Dad asked me why I wasn't going back. Why? It was more about how she can explain to the relatives. So at that point in time, I felt total rejection from my mum. She got so angry, she started, giving me a hard time. And by this stage, I'm 17, so I'm thinking to myself, I feel a bit, and all of a sudden I've come back to this environment again where control and house rules and, you got to go to church next Sunday, you got to go to this, you got to do this, you got to do that, right? And I kept thinking, so I just tended to rebel then and thought, bugger this. And that was the feeling of, okay, now I'm not not validated because I'm not doing what she wanted me to do, which is bullshit. But looking back on it now, it was interesting to go from back into the environment again. And I remember if I was swearing, she'd say, you didn't swear like that last year. And then if I got caught drinking a beer, I bet you didn't drink last year. And I said, you wouldn't know what I did last year, to be honest. You would not know what I did. And that was the fact of life. They were in their bubble still, and you know, I'd found another way that life was. So anyway, that was a good year, a transition year at the age of 16, and in some ways, I think that maybe set up the cycle of my life from there on in. And more to come on that one. Thank you.